Hey guys, hey, I know it's been a while since I made a video, and there's a lot of things to that. I'm not gonna make a video if it's not something that I would want to make or something that I think is important, need to know info. But we're here today in my garage, and I did find something that I really wanted to talk about, and that was if you're traveling, what to keep in your car with you to where you can fish every spot you might find. Maybe you find a random pond that's open, whatever, what to carry with you. And that's what I'm going to get into right now. So, set the scene here. You are just traveling around everywhere, right? You're traveling for work, whatever, and you don't want to take your boat, or you don't have a boat or a kayak or whatever. You don't have any of that with you, but you still want to go out and fish a spot, and you're wanting to go catch some bass or whatever. What would be your setup to where you could pretty much fish whatever you find and not be left high and dry with, oh crap, I didn't bring that, as best as possible. But so that's what I'm going to go into today. And I cleaned my car out because I did need to trim some fat, and I'm going to go through and show you exactly what fat I trimmed and why. So everything you see behind me here is everything that I pulled out of my car. So as you can see, I had a lot of fishing rods and way too much stuff in my car. It was taking up a massive amount of space. We're going to fix that today. I'm going to cut it down to as minimum as possible, and we'll go from there. The first thing we're going to be talking about is rods. Now, we all know you got to use a rod to catch bass most of the time, and having the right rods for pretty much every type of situation really makes a difference, while at the same time getting as close to precision and specific equipment as you can while not overloading your car. So for me, I like to go about it in 3 different approaches and 3 different rod types. One of them, first one, is something that works well with moving and crankbait. So you want a crankbait, moving bait, extra fast reel rod, and something with a bit heavier of a tip. And then you want something that works well with your slow moving baits, such as your Texas rigs and stuff like that. And then the last one is the rods that work well with your finessey baits, because depending on the weather, you might want that in the situation you're in. All of that makes a difference. So we're going to start with the finessey presentations. My personal favorite, the one that I will always have on the boat or on the car, both, is I'm going to have 2 spinning setups. One is going to be a medium heavy fast action rod, and then the next one is going to be a medium fast. So what those allow me to do, those are good for your drop shots, your dead rigs, your wacky rigs, or pretty much anything that's really light lures. You can usually use them with a spinning setup, and you can make them work. And on the lighter side of things, you can also use them to catch crappie, panfish, whatever else you're going for on the lighter side of things, and it can still operate the same, so you can go for all those other species as well. It's not limited just to bass, but it gives you a wide variety of stuff that you can go for if you have those baits with you. Now, the next rods that I'm going to keep with me at all times, before we go to that, this is one I'm cutting. I don't need it in the boat anymore. It's taking up space, so I'm going to minimize this one down. I don't need a third one. It's taken. Now, the next one, the baits rods and reels that are good for slow moving baits. My 2 Shimano SLXs Now, both of these are 7.2, and that's just a personal thing. You can get one that's a 6.8. It's a bit slower. It'll work better with those slow-moving baits. But I like these. I like that slightly faster gear ratio whenever I can help it. So I got two of them that can do that. The rods, one is a medium fast action, and the other one is a medium heavy extra fast. So the reason for that is simply because that gives you kind of the range there to do your Texas rigs, your kind of slower walking Texas rigs, your top water walking baits, your stuff like that you got to really control and work on. It gives you the range to do those things. It may not be designed for it, but it gives you the rods to do those effectively and still get that weight and get that bait out there where you need it, and gives you good flipping control from the shore. It gives you everything you need in that package for those slow moving baits. Now, the fast moving baits. I have two Abu Garcia, and one of them is on both of them are on medium heavy. One is a 6.2 and one is a 6.8, because I like that faster movement. And this is what I'm going to put on my spinner baits or my crankbaits, stuff like that. I'm not going super hardcore on the moving baits because I want to leave it open as much as possible for all of those style of baits, because there's so many fast moving baits out there that you really need to keep an open end on them to do that. So those two rods are doing it well. I stick with the medium heavy because I like the extra backbone to where if I log into something huge, like maybe a catfish, I can still force them in. So that'll do it for rods for me. Now let's go into baits. Now, with baits, I like to carry them all in one box if I can help it. So that's what this is going to be. This gives me enough space to carry any other tools I may have, anything like that. And I can just load it up, put a lid on, strap it down. It's not going to move. It's not taking up a mountain of space. It really helps out with organizing your tackle. Now, when it comes to what baits you should carry inside this, I'm going to have 6 boxes in here. And they're not going to be overloaded boxes. They're not going to be full of every color and every type of thing. It's just stuff that I would use depending on certain situations. Like, say I got a dock that goes out to 40 feet. I got crankbaits that will get down there. If I'm fishing around rock with no vegetation, I got baits that can move quickly along those areas. Everyone knows you gotta have a top water box. Inside, I only make it where I'm allowed to have 1 box of top water. I'm not allowed to add more later on. It is, if it fits in this box, it ships. If it doesn't, it doesn't go. 1 box, that's gonna be the same. All of these, all the way down the line. 1 box when it comes to hard baits. In the bag. Crankbaits. This is going to be your lipless, your deep, your shallow, your square bills. If they fit in here, they fit in here. Now, I don't carry many deep divers because, honestly, it's kind of hard to get down really deep with a deep diving crankbait from the shoreline. And it's a good way to lose a lot of baits. In my personal experience, I may be wrong. Other people may know a way to do it, but I have a pretty common that I lose them in the bank. So, 1 box of crankbaits in the bag. Now, I have a separate box, and this one is going to think it's a broken rule, but it is not. Bladed baits. Not spinner baits, but baits with blades. So your buzz baits, anything like that that has some type of blade on it, goes in here. Doesn't matter what it is. Some type of blade. So if you got extra spinner baits or you didn't bring your own spinner bait box, it goes in this one. In the bag. Glide baits, swim baits, and paddle tails. Got 1 box for that. your jig box. Now it may look clustered, but I promise you it is not. I put a lot of work into this box to keep them nice and straight and stiff. They don't move because I put foam behind each of them to keep them locked in place. But this is jigs, and I also included the bladed jigs in there because it's bladed jig. So that's what I do. Now, that one in the bag. A Ned rig box, a small one that can go in here to replace the spinnerbait box I took out. So it's not going to be a whole lot of Ned rig stuff, but it is going to be enough to get me to do what I need to do. I don't Ned rig very often, but when I do, I really want it in hand, so I decided to keep a Ned rig box with me with the bare minimums, just to give it the opportunity for me to catch them on the Ned rig. Now, we're going to move on to other baits that I have in the car. A bag of trailers for soft plastic jerk baits, creature baits, worms, craws, and I have large and long worms. So this one's got like 7-inch plus, got your magnum worms, 6 bags. And this is a spinnerbait box. 1 box of line. Other boxes I keep inside this one that you don't necessarily have to keep yourself. A jig minnow box, or terminal tackle box of random stuff. So you got weights, drop shot weights, a jerkbait box, Ned rig box. This is everything top and bottom that I would need for Ned rigs, Ned rig weights, everything else. But I'm not carrying this, I'm actually cutting it. So a tournament board, that'll help you out a lot, especially when somebody's asking you, hey, how big that fish was. Tournament scale ain't gonna hurt you. And it's small, it's compact, you can just slide it into a corner. It's some type of net. I've got to where I've hooked onto a fish that there was no way I was going to muscle it onto shore, and if I tried, it would snap my rod or snap my line. So carrying something that you can net a fish with is top priority. Scale. Get the weight of your fish, guys. You'd be surprised. You might log into one, you might snag into one, and it be some bigger than you've ever caught. You definitely want to get a weight on that cool fish. You don't want to just say it was big. Get just a length on it and be like, I guess it was this heavy. No, carrying a scale, a dependable, good, battery-powered scale is not going to hurt you. And it's also not going to take up a whole lot of space. Especially in most modern cars, it's not going to take up that much. So keep that in mind. Carry a scale. Carry a tool. A pair of split ring pliers isn't going to hurt you. Also have a pair of regular pliers in there just to be pulling hooks and stuff like that. So carry one of these, some type of razor blade. You'd be surprised. The razor blade can cut almost anything you have out there with ease, unless you have really dull blades, and then at that point, just reinvest in some new blades. It's easy. They get dirty, just toss them, or they get dull, toss them, replace the blade, go about your business. You don't have to worry about resharpening anything. It's easy, quick, simple, and this one particular model carries extra blades. So, something to cut. Now, as you may know, that when you're out there and you're fishing, you're going to be walking around a lot and not necessarily living out of the side of your car, or your car might not be readily available. So having a few smaller boxes of stuff that you can carry with you and just have like your terminal tackle, random hooks, and just a small load out of hooks can really help you out and really make your day a lot easier, especially if they can fit in your back pocket. Now, before you go typing in that you can't make all of that crap fit in the car, especially a small car like mine, which is a 2015 Nissan Rogue, let me tell you, yes you can. I have a crap ton of space still right here that I don't even need to use. And all I gotta do is undo one strap, move these, and I can get to the underside of this. God, I need to clean my car. But all the rods are mounted up here nice and solid, and taken care of out of the way. Even got some extra rods and reels. I mean, extra reels anyway. But yes, everything is in here, even something extra, which is an air compressor. And so for those who believe that yes, it is an air compressor, not what you were thinking. But yes, it can be put in here nice. You can just use a little locking bar up there. I got 6 slots for rods up front. All of the baits I could possibly need. Knife, scale, even bug spray, tournament board, and the net. Extra line, spinner baits, all the other baits. You don't need a crap ton of space to do it, and it's comfortable. It's not a whole lot of access space being used up. So now I wanted to quickly talk about one other thing before we go. So what I wanted to go over now is how I go about locating fish from the bank. So we're here at Clark County Lake. It's really windy today, and that did influence my lure choices here today. So let's go over it. So like I said earlier, you want something fast, something slow, and something finesse. So what my plan is, and what I've always done, and it works good for me, is I'm going to walk out, I'm going to fish this entire area with the spinnerbait first, then I'm going to switch to the Texas and do it again, and then the wacky. If I don't get anything, I'm going to move to a different location. Now, if I get bit on the spinnerbait first, I'm going to keep fishing the spinnerbait to see if that made a change. And I'm going to make note of that area and the location that I caught him in, and I'm going to switch to the slow bait and see if it gets me any more bites. And same thing with the wacky rig. Now I'm going to go like 4 or 5 casts in a location and try to really hit everything and then move on. I'm trying to do it for speed, and at the same time trying to hit everything I can. So it's a fine little balance. You got to kind of figure it out for yourself, especially depending on the location. But that's really how I go about it. Now, some alternate baits you can use for these are, for your fast moving baits, you could go with a chatterbait, which I have tied on here. You can also go with a larger or different size Texas rig, which I have here. And you can also go with a drop shot, which I have tied on here. It's kind of depending on what you're doing. That's why I'm going with what I have. So just feel free to test it out. If this works for you, awesome. If it doesn't and you like doing a different method, feel free. This isn't a science. Very first cast. So I know they're here. So this is a little bitty guy. I'm going to get a weight on him real quick, and then we're going to go from there, and I know I'm going to really be hitting it heavy with the spinnerbait today. All right, so it's been about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and I've made a bunch of casts all the way around with the spinnerbait. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back to the Texas rig. Now, I got 4 different bites. Only one of them landed. Visually seen 2 bites. Felt one, but it popped off. So I'm going to switch to a Texas rig only because I'm curious to see what they're going to react to that one. But I do have a bit of a pattern picked out now. And that is that they're biting something with flash that's moving really fast. So after I use the Texas rig for a bit, and if I don't get anything, I'll move on back to the wacky rig. If I still don't get anything, I'm going to stick with the spinnerbait because it's working. I'm going to keep fishing that one around the area, and then we'll go from there. So after fishing the Texas and wacky rig and not getting bit, now I know it's narrowed down to the only things they're biting are something that's moving quickly and with some flash and some vibration. So now I'm going to pick up chatterbait, and I'm going to give it another shot. And then I'll go back to the spinnerbait and see if we can just keep slamming them now. I might even go with an underspin. I didn't think about that till just now, but an underspin might be a good choice. We'll see what goes on. Okay, this was the second bite I've got today on chatterbait. So I think it was a right choice. I haven't been out here very long. I'm going to go and actually get a weight on this one, and we'll see from there, and I'll talk a bit more about my game plan moving forward. So that was my second bite on that one. I lost the first one, getting him close to shore. He popped off, which was my fault because I didn't set the hook at the right time. But what that tells me is that flash and vibration is what I'm needing for today, and I need a lighter color, and I need to be on the wind-beaten banks for today. So that's what I'm going to stick with today, is spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, and possibly an underspin of some kind. And that's going to be my routine for the rest of the day. I'm going to stick with that. Literally the very next cast. I think I got a pattern, guys. Numero tres. Yeah. So hopefully this helps you guys figure out your fishing out there. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions on it. If not, good luck, tight lines. Talk to you later.